Hey everyone, David here from the Five and Dime, and I'd like to show you this transformation I did on this hall table. This was the before. First thing I did was come in with Dixie Belle's White Lightning to give it a good cleaning, and then rinsed it with clean water. Once it was dry, I used Slick Stick, and Slick Stick is an adhesive primer. And I came in and gave it one coat, let it dry for a couple of hours, gave it a second coat, and then let it dry overnight. Slick Stick works beautifully on glass, metal, plastic, or surfaces you just don't have the time or inclination to sand. I use the color Palmetto by Dixie Belle Paint Company. It's a beautiful rich green, and it'll look really well with the plan that I have for the top of this. I wanted to embellish the front on this piece, and so I added the WoodUbend piece, the WUB6020. I also added the WoodUbend trim, WUB TR710. And WoodUbend is very simple to apply. You heat it up, which makes it very pliable and malleable, so you can bend it, etc. And then you add some glue, apply it to the piece, press it in place, then come back in with the heat gun and heat it up again, and just really make sure it's pressed in, and then just wipe up any of the excess glue with, I like using a paintbrush with water. You can also use a baby wipe for a flat surface. Once that was done, I gave it a coat of Palmetto as well, let that dry, and then gave it a second coat. And this is what it looks like after it's been applied and the paint is dry. What I love about WoodUbend is once it's painted and everything, it looks like it was a piece that was always on there. I used Best Dang Wax and Clear to seal this. I wanted to protect my piece and give it a beautiful little luster. So you're going to apply it with a brush, come in after about 15-20 minutes, then buff it off, and you've got this beautiful sheen. Gilding wax is one of my favorite things to use, especially when using a stencil. Here I'm using the copper to do the stencil and then to do all the highlighting on the hall table as well. Gilding wax is an oil-based product, so it is the last thing that you'll add onto your piece. You come in, and then what you'll do is apply it in the areas you want it, and because it's sealed, if I get it on any little spots that I don't want it on, I'll actually just come in with a baby wipe to wipe it off. I also like using it on the corners as well to make sure it gives it a little bit of an antiqued or aged look as well. After your gilding wax is set up for about 12 hours, you can come back in with a dry rag and use that to buff away any excess. The top of this piece is not wood, so I decided I would recreate a wood look or a faux bois by painting one. So I'm coming in with Dixie Belle Paint Company's Caviar, and I gave it a coat and dried it off, then gave it a second coat and dried it, and then it's ready for the next step. To create my wood grain, I'm coming in with Dixie Belle Paint Company's chocolate, and you'll apply that as thick or as thin as you'd like. Use a wood graining tool, come in and create your wood grain. And just do it in sections. So because this table is wider than it is deep, I ran it from side to side, and you can go in both directions. It really doesn't matter. The thing is, I'm going to be staining this afterwards, so this is just adding that base. What's really nice about this is by doing it this way, I actually got that texture in there as well. So when the paint dried, it actually had the texture of like a barn board type wood. It turned out really well. Next, I came in with the No Pain Gel Stain in Espresso and applied that over top. So I actually gave it 2 coats, and it was the perfect color for this table. You really want to make sure that this is dry completely before moving on to any next steps. My next step is going to be adding gator hide on top of it. So gator hide is a tough coat that can be applied, stir it really well. I'm using the blue applicator pad, and this is going to provide a really durable water repellent surface. So I'll do 3 to 4 coats of this, and then it'll be ready. So here again is the before, and look at the after. It's turned out so beautiful. I'm really happy with the color. I love the wood grain on it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Have a great day. Ciao.